Last time I checked, I was still a kid. Childish, childish. This all freaks me out a bit. Childish, oh shit. How can I parent when I'm still a kid? Childish, oh shit. Who the hell decided I was ready for this?
Hey kids, Greg Fitzsimmons here.
Alison Rosen here.
Coming to you from the front lines of the COVID virus, the Black Lives Matter, and of course, puberty. Actually, my kids are past puberty. That was a tough one.
I thought maybe you were going through puberty.
You would think at the age of 54 the acne would stop, but on my bald head I get pimples. That seems wrong. That feels like as you get older, if you acquire a new bad thing, shouldn't you shed an old bad thing?
Yes, like when you're bringing new sweaters into your life and you have to get rid of old overalls or what have you. I also find myself applying anti-aging cream and zit cream at the same time. And I'm like, well, which is it?
Yeah, right.
But these head zits that you're speaking of, did you know you had them when you had hair? Or is this like a new thing you've discovered since you've been shaving your head?
I don't know that it's I think here's what it is. I think is that because my head is now exposed to the sun, I put sunblock on, and I think maybe that's clogging the pores. But isn't it? Yeah, you should like sweaters. You should get rid of stuff. It's like, who's the Japanese lady who says if it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it?
Marie Kondo, who my husband, I think, is in love with, but claims he just thinks she's cute. I'm like, no, I think you have feelings for. She sparks joy in him.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got to get rid of you if you're not. You spark joy in him. He absolutely loves you. I saw a very cute picture of you guys together on Instagram recently, didn't I?
Oh, quite possibly.
Yeah.
I post a lot, so I'm not recalling the specific cute one you saw, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you feel about this whole Marie Kondo thing of getting rid of anything in your home that doesn't spark joy?
No, absolutely. We live in a house in Venice, and it's not a big house, and so it forces us to weed. You know, with two kids, we just weed. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I love the feeling. I go through my clothes all the time. I remember getting rid of all my CDs. I had 2,000 CDs. And I burned them all onto a hard drive before I realized there would be like a Spotify app out there. And I remember getting rid of those old bikes. We used to have like 7 bikes. And then you keep it simple. You know, life can be very simple.
Yeah. Daniel describes it as visual noise. Like when there's clutter, it's like there's visual noise, and like he can't feel calm when and I can't really either. And yet it is very visually noisy in every room of our house. I am just like, I never learned to keep things organized, and I have trouble letting go of things. So I find the whole Marie Kondo thing somewhat threatening, even though I do understand where she's coming from. So I want to make a little announcement at the top, which is, we talked about CPR, infant and child CPR, and infant and child, like what to do if they're choking last week. And we made it very clear, don't take our advice. We don't know what we're talking about.
It was really, for a show that is giving advice to parents about children, it was woefully inadequate.
It really was. And you'd think that here I am to say, allow me to set the record straight, but that's not what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is go to redcross.org and they break it all down for you. I started making notes so that I could break it down for everyone, and then I'm like, there's way too many, like, if this then this, if this then this. And again, I don't want to be responsible for anyone's lives. We're just responsible for entertainment. That's what we're responsiple for. And
I don't know, Alison. I think we should take more responsibility because, you know, look, my wife is she's got a degree as a postnatal doula. She's got a degree as a lactation consultant. You've just recently given birth and raised kids to an age where, you know, the sea turtle part, they're in the water. They made it through the sand. You got them into the ocean.
I did, yes.
And we have a lot of information to share, and I think we should just be... I think we should be smarter.
I like this as a goal because I have been feeling at sea, especially lately. Quarantine is just where, it's just every day is the same. What am I doing? And I've been getting depressed. But I love the idea of a goal and a project, especially if the goal in the project is to be smarter.
Every week, every episode from now on, we are going to impart information on a subject about raising kids that would be helpful. The CPR thing would have been a great place to start. The next episode, we're going to talk about when you should bring your child to the doctor or the emergency room. We're going to research that.
I have got to make a note about that because I will forget otherwise. And before we started, you were talking to me about your memory, and I was acting like I have a good memory, but I guess I was lying, except I do remember that moment. So I'm sorry, what are we doing?
I don't know. I don't know that my brain is not like this Japanese woman's advice where I take things that don't bring me joy and I flush them out of my memory. I don't need to remember finals, senior year of high school. I don't need to remember the first time I asked out Charlotte Bourne and she said no.
See, I just sit there. I've been making soup lately. That was my project before this new becoming smart thing.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
I've been using the blend. I'm like 90% vegetable and also like 90% shit at this point because there's been a lot of fiber happening.
Yeah.
And then Daniel has been eating Impossible Burgers, and those have done a number on him. So between the two of us, someone's always going to the bathroom. But the point was I was sitting there by the stove cooking and just thinking about something inconsequential from my past. And I was like, why is this still in my brain? I want to get rid of it to allow new stuff.
Right.
Let's all work on that. So anyway, I'm just going to tell you what the issue is for me. And maybe one of our informed expert listeners, of which we have many, could let us know a way out of this conundrum. Some people say with CPR, the first thing you do is you give 2 rescue breaths and then you do chest compression. Some say start with the compressions and then do the rescue breaths. Hence, I don't know which it is. So someone who knows, let me know. Let us know you can reach us at childishpod@gmail.com or tweet or communicate with us on Twitter and Instagram, childishpod on Twitter and Instagram.
Now, the first thing you do is you open the mouth and you clear out anything that might be in the throat or mouth. I know that. Before you do any compressing or blowing or anything like that.
Right. You check the airway. And if it's an infant, when you do the breath, you put your mouth over their mouth and nose.
And nose.
But
That's
if it's a child, you pinch their nose. Or an adult, you pinch their nose.
All things I do to my wife during lovemaking, by the way.
You put your mouth, you become a COVID mask for her face?
That's right. I cover her and I break the 6 feet rule, but I become the mask.
I do wonder how, in fact, I know someone who has just recently started dating someone during these times, and I'm wondering how that is going. And like, clearly they're hanging out together. I just wonder how, like, they met on an app, and he said actually that one of the upsides of it was that it forced them to really get to know each other before they ever spent time together.
Huh.
But still,
I like that.
Yeah, it is good.
I mean, look, if the people are being safe, if you know that the person is staying at home other than the store, then I don't see any problem with them getting together and mashing genitals and covering each other's nose and mouth with their own mouth, like
or with their own genitals.
Yeah, right. By the way, made love to the wife today on the kitchen table.
Look at you. That sounds so uncomfortable. First of all, to go back
That's
to
exactly what she said at the end. She goes, "We're going to need a couple chairs for my feet next time."
Did you have to clear the table off, or do you have a table that's already clear? Because it would take like in the same way that it takes us way too long to get the table ready for dinner, it would take even longer to get it ready for sex.
Yeah, no, we had to clear an area, and then we threw a towel down.
Smart.
Yeah,
And
why
also
not?
Spontaneous.
Yes, right.
What was the position?
It was a standing missionary with one person sitting on the table.
Oh, that is different. I expected like a banquet of bodies, like someone just laying on the table and the other one sitting on top of them.
No, we didn't get there. The whole reason we were doing it that way is that she had eaten too much for breakfast and didn't feel like she could be prone. She could be prodded, but not prone.
And the idea was the bed would be too uncomfortable? Or
laying down would have been uncomfortable. On
Where
her
are you
stomach.
guys with shower sex?
It's probably in our past. I think there was an issue with dryness while showering. The water gets in there, and ironically, actually causes dryness.
Speaking of all of this stuff, I just want to read a recent iTunes comment of the week. We love when you guys leave us iTunes comments. So please keep them coming, and also subscribe your friends, tell everyone, etc. Help us grow this motherfucker. Okay, this is from Aunt Patrice, and it says, thanks. I love this show, even if I'm too shy to listen in the kitchen with my teenagers in earshot. Fitzdog, you are hilarious. Your family stories and raw honesty make you my favorite comedian. And Alison, you crack me up, sister, the way you bounce off Greg with your funny point of view. I saw an adorable pic of Elliot, and oh my God, he looks like a baby Alison. So cute. Guys, thanks for doing this podcast.
There you go. Well, I hope she's not listening in the kitchen with the kids. Or they're going to start looking at that kitchen table a little bit differently.
I've never done anything untoward on my kitchen table. Except
by the way, we used
podcast.
my setting. We used where I sit, just so you know.
Was that your choice?
Yeah, it felt morally like the best place on the table to go.
Right. Completely unrelated, except that it made me think of dining rooms. Greg, where are you on the wallpaper trend?
Oh, is it a trend?
I feel like it's come back.
I have always loved wallpapers. My mother was the picture of the 70s when she decorated our house. Shag rugs. We had paisley thick curtains. We had a love seat in the TV room.
Wait, you mean a small couch, or you mean love seats where
no, like
one seat...
a round cone-shaped love seats.
Oh, how cool.
Like postmodern, and then wallpaper on everything.
So you like wallpaper?
Love wallpaper.
I am now at the age where I realize that like everything is cyclical, everything comes back, and it's on like a, 20, 30, 40 year cycle where no matter what it was, it's gonna come back. And unfortunately, I cannot get to a place where when something that I remember from high school or from grade school comes back, where I can look at it and think that looks chic. I just think I remember that looks really old to me.
Yeah.
So I cannot get on, except for, I don't know if you follow Moshe Kasher and Natasha.
No.
They have like a house that should be out of
Oh no, actually I do. I do. It should be what?
In Architectural Digest.
Yes,
their
beautiful.
house is so expertly designed. They have wallpaper. It looks really good. But aside from them, for the most part, it just reminds me of my bedroom growing up. And Daniel has suggested maybe we wallpaper a couple of the rooms. And I feel like I'm open to it, but it just is very 70s to me.
I was once making love to a woman in my room on my little twin bed.
How old were you?
19, 20, like 22.
Okay.
And she was selling magazines door to door.
Oh, yes.
I think I've told you this story.
Yes, you have.
So
go ahead.
I charmed her, and she came upstairs, but I had told her that I owned this house, that I was a famous comedian. I played her a videotape of me doing stand-up. It was my first videotape ever. I was terrible.
It was your parents' house, and where were they?
In New York, suburbs of New York. And, pretty big house for a 22-year-old comedian to own. And she came in, and I gave her some coffee, And then we watched the tape, and she was like from fucking Iowa. She was a country bumpkin, and she was trying to sell magazines because if she raised enough money, then she gets to go to Disneyland. And so she came upstairs, and we made love on my little twin bed. And she looked at the wallpaper, and she goes, "Why did you hang race car wallpaper in your room? And why do you live on the second floor? Why don't you live in the master bedroom?" And I was like, "I just moved in recently. I'm still making some adjustments."
That you thought fast.
And then we finished, and then she said, oh my God, it's 1:00. I got to meet the van down on the corner so we can go to the next stop. And I was like, take it easy. I had just woken up, and I sat back. I remember sitting back down to the table, and I had poured a bowl of cereal and poured the milk. And I remember eating soggy cereal and thinking, this has turned out to be a pretty good day.
I wonder if she like later turned on, what was Don't Tell Me, Idiot Savants, and was like, that's that guy.
Right. Also, by the way, did not buy a magazine.
Did you even consider it?
Did not consider it. As a matter of fact, that was my ploy to get her inside. Is she gave me her pitch, and I go, none of those magazines really appeal to me. And she goes, well, how do I convince you? I go, well, why don't you come in? I'll make you a cup of coffee, and we'll keep talking about it. That got her in the door.
There was already a flirtation happening, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then I got a call from my friend Tommy, who lives a couple neighborhoods over from me, later that day. And he goes, dude, this girl just came to my door selling magazines. And I bought like 3 subscriptions. I was trying to fool around with her, and she wasn't up for it. And that was it. I was like, I think she was done. I think she was done for the day.
I have a question for you. You are someone who, from the stories that I hear, was always very motivated to meet different women and hook up with women and pursue women and things like that. And so how does someone for whom that was a big part of their identity settle down and feel satisfied? Like, where does that part of you go?
Kitchen table sex. You put it all into the marriage. Look, just because you're physically there, sometimes mentally you can be with somebody else. That keeps it fresh. Mm-hmm. And that's not a secret. We talk about that. You fantasize about other people. You try it different ways. You keep it interesting. But the thing is, I am so in love with my wife during this pandemic. I feel so close to her. We're inseparable. I just spend all my time with her. We've gone to the beach together like 4 of the last 6 days, and we hold hands and we walk down the street, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful relationship. I'm really, really lucky. And I think maybe because I've put all that other energy into this one relationship, maybe there's a payoff.
What are your recurring fights with her?
I'm not blanking like there are none. There are definitely fights, but they're not fights. I would say like just little stuff around the house, like maybe I should cook dinner more, or we really don't have a lot of fights.
You don't?
No.
I mean, no, I believe you don't, but like you don't have certain things that crop up frequently?
No, I think we both kind of stay in our lanes. It's kind of a traditional marriage where I'm the main bread earner, so I get sort of a little more freedom to go to my office where I am now and work, and she handles a lot more of the domestic stuff, and I think that for some people can work well.
I could imagine. That's not how we are. We both do both things. So
Right. I think that's really hard. And I think that's at the heart of a lot of problems people have in marriages is, you really, and she works like part-time 2 days a week. And so things have definitely changed. I'm much more, I do a lot more around the house than I used to. Mm-hmm. But it's just always been hard because I travel on the road so much that she just has gotten into the routine of taking care of the kids more full on than I have. And then when I'm home, I jump in more. But she's very capable, and she's pretty amazing at keeping the house running well.
Well, I need to learn her ways. I feel like we should do some news, but first I want to tell you guys about Laurel Springs.
Oh, Laurel Springs. I know about this.
Laurel Springs, they're great because a lot of people are turning to homeschooling now. And
That's right.
Is quite difficult. It's quite an adjustment. And online learning might be new for your family, but Laurel Springs has been doing this for nearly 30 years.
30 years.
As the experts in online learning, Laurel Springs has the tools and the curriculum your child needs to maintain their learning unhindered by whatever the future holds. Their flexible learning programs designed for students in kindergarten through 12th grade offer challenging and diverse courses. And Laurel Springs is accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges and Cognia, which means their transcripts are recognized by colleges and universities worldwide. Register your child at laurelsprings.com/childish today and receive a waived registration fee. That's laurelsprings.com/childish for your waived registration fee. laurelsprings.com/childish.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to talk briefly about insurance and the way to do it. Look, it's tough. These days, everybody's wondering what kind of life insurance they have, what's the best kind. Once you become a parent, you're insuring yourself in a lot of ways. And Policy Genius can really help. It's a marketplace of life insurance backed by a team of experts. They keep track of all the change, all the stuff. Look, things are always changing in this marketplace. They're keeping track of it, and they can help you find the right amount of coverage at the best price without a headache. They compare quotes from all the top life insurance companies all in one place. Takes a few minutes to compare notes, and it just saves you a lot of legwork. You could save, ready for this?
I'm ready.
$1,500 or more a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies. Once you apply, Policy Genius team will handle all the paperwork and red tape for free. So if you hit any speed bumps during the application process, they're there to take care of it. So if you need life insurance, but you're not sure where to start, head to policygenius.com. Policy Genius will find you the best rate and handle the process completely. They'll get you and your family protected and hopefully give you one less thing to worry about later. Try it today.
Do it.
I guess there's no code. We don't have to give people a code. We're just telling you to do it.
Just do it. But remember us when you do.
That's right.
Okay, let's do some news.
Time for the news.
All right. So, an editorial in the New York Times today from the editorial board saying that schools need to reopen, that an emphasis should be on kids being present at school, not remote learning, but like some way to get them there to learn, because there's all sorts of benefits to that kind of learning, and that in order to do that, schools need to, they put it, that officials need to think outside the school building, quote unquote. So they need to find ways to, and maybe this means borrowing from other countries, maybe have outdoor classrooms, maybe have tents that don't have walls in cities where space is at a premium, shut down streets and just have learning outside.
School is intense.
All that being said, I went to Pomona College in Claremont, California. It's like a East Coast, liberal arts school, but in California, and they make a big deal about the fact that the weather's so nice. So periodically we would have classes outside, and I just remember having so much trouble concentrating and feeling like the grass poke at me and the sun was too bright. But that's because I'm basically a goth who's not meant for warm weather. So maybe that was just me, but anyway.
They didn't have any. They didn't have a university that was in a basement in Greenwich Village.
That's what I should have sought out.
That's right.
I should have gone for did you ever watch Felicity?
No.
You did? Oh yeah, I guess it was not quite, it was a little bit after your time. I should have done what Felicity did, which she went to NYU. She worked at Dean and DeLuca. It was always very overcast and foggy. That's what I should have done. And cloudy and gloomy. I needed like a gloomy you.
But the girl from Felicity ended up being the one from The Americans, right?
Yes, Carrie Russell.
Oh, do I love Carrie Russell?
When I lived in Brooklyn, I saw her shopping at a bodega, my bodega in Brooklyn. And I thought, there she is. One day she'll be on The Americans.
She was a badass on The Americans. She really, I mean, there's a lot of very cool chick vigilante or spy or action hero type people. But I mean, she has really got in shape. Her body was amazing, strong, flexible. She it was so believable when she kicked the shit out of people.
So we only watched the first season of The Americans, and it's on our list of shows that we have to get back into. We have to get back into it, right?
Top 5 dramas of all time.
Did you
so amazing.
Did you watch The Leftovers?
What's that?
It's on HBO. It's Damon Lindelof who did Lost, which I never watched. But people keep saying it's good. It's one of those shows that it's so good. It's not enjoyable to watch at all, but I recognize that it's really good. That was my experience of it.
Pass.
But at some point, it's very art. I mean, I feel like for an English major, you would like it. It's very artistic.
Really?
It's well done. Yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, people keep saying that the season finale, and I don't know if they mean the whole last season or the series finale was the best thing they've ever seen. So that's also on our list of stuff to get back into. But The Americans, the guy is now in Perry Mason, which I think is pretty good.
Oh yeah, I heard Perry Mason's good.
It is good.
We just finished season 4 of The Wire.
I have not watched The Wire, but I know I need to watch it, right?
Well, everybody puts that in the top 3 shows of all time.
What, with Mad Men and Breaking Bad and Sopranos?
Yeah. And Game of Thrones. I don't know that I put it in my top 3. I would probably put it in my top 7 or 8.
That's still pretty good. But doesn't it take 3 seasons to get into?
It takes at least a season to kind of get into it, but it's a lot of black people.
Craig.
You can't even joke around about that right now, can you?
Oh, me personally or one in general?
I can't. One can't.
I mean, you can. I don't think it's a good idea.
You know what? It's actually, I highly recommend it. During this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and, there's a lot of emphasis on white people trying to understand the black experience in a more real way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this show, The Wire, is a pretty good look at inner city. It's Baltimore, so it's about as bad as inner city can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a pretty, just based on the people that wrote and produced it, Richard Price and, God, I hope he's black. But a very interesting look at maybe some of the dynamics that produce, because racists are always saying, well, black people are all killing each other anyway. Why is it our fault? We're not killing them. They're killing them.
Why doesn't anyone ever talk about Chicago? Did you like that?
Right.
That's what they sound like.
And I think that you need to look at really what are the dynamics from their neighborhoods and their communities that they're coming up in, how bad the schools are, how drug riddled, and, the pressure kids get from gangs. And, there's a lot of things going on that a white person doesn't experience in their life. And so I think it's an important show to watch. If you are trying to sort of enlighten yourself about the black experience, I think The Wire is a good place to start. And
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, that's it. I was going to say something racist, but it's better that you just cut me off.
Well, I was going to sort of circle back to that. Do you worry about people misinterpreting the jokes that you make?
No, I don't.
How come?
Because I don't give a shit. That's the beauty of me, is that I never made it big. I crawled my way to the middle. I'm staying right there. Nobody's going to cancel me. There's never going to be a Me Too for me. It's going to be like, me who? I'm good. I'm good. So I enjoy myself. I know people get the context of what I'm saying. I'm being ironic. I'm saying shit that people know you can't say. And it's just, who gives a shit? And the thing about podcasting is the Jews don't run this part of the media. So I'm fine.
Wait, you think it's the Jews who are doing the canceling, or are you just trying to rankle me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrangle you.
Okay. Another story. Boy Scouts of America recalls Cub Scout activity pins due to high levels of lead. And they've recalled 78,000 rhomboid-shaped outdoor activity pins, which have a painted blue background, silver border, and gold animal paw print because of lead. You'd think that would be something they wouldn't have made this mistake. But they did.
Well, the Boy Scouts have made a few mistakes. I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about. The Boy Scouts are pristine.
Oh, you didn't hear?
What?
Oh, sometimes when they go in the woods, and this isn't all the time. I mean, a lot of times the camping trips, they come home. How was the trip? It was great, Mom. I made a rope swing and we canoed and all that. It was a fire. But there's other times where you come home and you're just quiet a lot and Mom doesn't know why. And then you cry.
Because you learned a lot and it opened your mind? The majesty of nature?
No. Let's just say that some of the other merit badges might have had other material on them besides lead.
Anyway, way to go, Boy Scouts. I believe that we actually lost a listener.
Good. You got to shed some. Now, if we're not losing any listeners, then we're not doing our job.
I don't mean just right now, but maybe. I remember someone wrote in and they were really upset about what we had said about the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts of America because I forget why, but they felt that we had been unfair. And I don't feel like we've been unfair.
No. And speaking of pedophilia, the Catholic Church got like $1 billion or $2 billion in bailout money from the government.
Are you serious?
Yeah, an entity that does not pay taxes.
No, that's...
And they say most of the money they got is going to pay out pedophilia cases.
That's...
Our tax dollars at work.
Is that the PPP loans or is that something else?
Yeah, PPP loans.
So someone sent me, there's a website you can go to and you can search what companies have received. Anyone who...
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I'll send it to you. It's like, I don't know if it's over 150,000 or over 350,000. But like, do you know Porto's? It's a very famous bakery in Burbank.
Yeah.
And they received between 2 and 5 million.
Wow.
God damn. I don't...
Well, at least it's like an independently owned company,
That's what I was going to say. I don't begrudge them because...
No, that's where it should be going.
I'm just surprised. I mean, it's just a huge... They have a lot of workers, though, and they do like brisk business, but that's just a huge loan.
No, I mean, Harvard, which has an endowment of like $30 billion or something crazy, got like fucking millions of dollars from the government. They ended up returning it, but only because they got found out.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun website. And then lastly, news-wise, an article here says, science says moms are happier when kids go to bed early. And it's from a study that was done in Australia, which I think that is not surprising.
Now, is that breaking news? Did that like come across on CNN across the bottom? Did they stop programming to announce this new study?
Yes, my phone, even though it was silenced, it still made a noise.
Yeah, I think this exactly. There was an alert like Amber Amber Alert, and now well, look. Some people like to stay up late with their kids, and like especially if a parent works and they don't get home until 8:00, then maybe they want the kid to stay up. But if you're a single parent or both parents get home early, you've put in your fucking time. You need a break. Would you have a glass of wine when the kids would go down early?
No, because I don't. I mean, philosophically, I would. Personally, I don't drink. But if I were to drink, then I could imagine one. I mean, it felt like now's my wind down. I actually exercise when they both go to sleep. That's when I exercise, which is probably bad because then I have trouble sleeping, and I don't know if they're related. But I do feel I'm always like, I just want to get you guys. I love you. I just want to get you in bed. I just want to like be done.
Yeah,
done with the responsibility. I have found either you have kids that go to sleep early and get up early, or you have kids that go to sleep late and get up late. And I don't know, like basically it's which one do you want? With Elliot, I would put him to bed. I would start the bedtime routine around 6, get him in bed by 7. He was already asleep by the time Daniel got home. And then Elliot would get up really early. But now everything is late, but they sleep till like 9. But we've been trying to get them to bed earlier. Owen goes to bed early, but we've started doing dinner earlier, which has like changed the shape of the whole evening. So the article recommends try moving things. If you're trying to adjust the time, move it up in 15-minute increments. But my personal advice is see if moving dinner up changes anything.
Right. And I mean, what you give them for dinner. I mean, if you give them like a nice carbo load, little Tylenol PM and the salad dressing.
I remember we've taken Elliot on a plane twice. And the first time was, I think it was a low on this show. It was awful. It was just like a true nightmare. He was just a very difficult age. So on the plane, I gave him Benadryl, which the pediatrician had okayed. And like, it didn't even slow him down for a second.
Really?
I had given him Benadryl before for an allergic reaction. And so I, definitely try it out ahead of time because who knows what reaction you don't want the first time you realize Benadryl doesn't agree with your child to have that happen on a plane. And check with your pediatrician. But anyway, no, it didn't do anything.
Do you have rituals to put them down? Like, do they still both take a bath every night before bed?
Yes. They both take a bath. Do they
go in together?
No, I haven't done that yet, although I kind of want to. Something about 2 slippery babies in water makes me a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But I think soon, because they like to be together. So
well, that's why you got to get that hot tub in the backyard, Alison. All you need is one new sponsor.
I know. We bought this fun inflatable pool that has like a little slide on it, and we still haven't set it up. We still haven't set it up, but I keep thinking, I know.
It's fucking 96 degrees in the valley.
Yeah, it's time. Well, it's almost too hot. It's too hot to be outside.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking that could function as a bath, basically. Yes. So with Owen, bath time, and then put him in his pajamas, put him in his little sleep sack, and I put him on my lap in his bedroom, put music on or read a book and give him a bottle. He sleeps really well. And I can tell just from him kind of the way he moves his body, I can tell that he's ready to go in his crib, and then put him in and he's, he sits there and he like rubs his little blankets, and he's kind of a dream in that way. With Elliot, it's a little harder. We go into both Daniel and I go into his room, and then very quickly I say, okay, time for mommy to go to bed. And then he gives me a hug and kiss, and then I leave. And then he and Daniel play for a little while, read 3 books, and then he goes to sleep. So, but it can be a very long process.
I miss those days. That is a sweet time. You know, it really is. I mean, reading the books with the kids is just the greatest. You cuddle up together, and especially if they're the right books, if they're sweet. But what books is he reading these days?
He has this book called The Body Book, which has these fold outs and a lot of anatomy. So, and he loves it. Maybe he'll be a serial killer one day.
Right.
But he loves learning about the different parts of the body. He likes, do you know Pete the Cat?
No.
It's a series of books. They're fun. He likes Pete the Cat. Daniel buys him new books all the time, and he likes all of them. So the only thing is there are a few books that are like long and hard to read. And I keep saying to Daniel, like, you got to just get those out of his room so he can't choose them. because that can tie up like an hour. If he has a book of it's just 1 to 100 and it's just counting 1 to 100 things. And it's someone who hates parents made that book.
I think if you really want your kid to fall asleep fast, just break out like the 2020 tax form, and it's like a 400-page book, and just start at page 1. If you amortize, then the back end tax-adjusted amount must be removed to line 14A. Just pile through it night after night. Who knows? Maybe he'll become an accountant.
Yeah, you guys could learn something. You could both fall asleep. What I often see happening is he and Daniel will cuddle on the couch, like pre-bed ritual, and then Daniel will fall asleep. And then Elliot will still be awake. So I'll have to wake Daniel up.
Yeah.
But it is like very nice to snuggle with them.
Yeah, sounds like a high.
Yeah. Yes, it kind of does. Should we do highs and lows, or should we do voicemail, or should we do email?
Let's do highs and lows.
Lows.
I'm excited to hear yours this week. Why don't you begin?
Okay, so my high.
My high.
It's going to sound like a low, but it actually ended up being a high. Elliot wanted an apple, and we peel apples for him. And so he really wanted an apple. So it was like he woke up wanting an apple. So, and I was still kind of waking up, get the apple out, start peeling it. And I'm almost all the way done peeling it. And I look at him and he is like shaking, bawling, but like in this way that he's so distraught that he wasn't really even making, if I had heard him crying, I would have noticed. And I was like, oh my God, what is it? And he wanted to peel it with me.
Oh.
And what that means is he places his hand on my arm as I peel, and then it becomes very difficult, but then he feels he's doing it with me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, honey, I got down on his level. I'm like, honey, I'm so sorry. I should have known you wanted to peel it. Mommy made a mistake. I'm so sorry. We can get we had so many apples. Like, we can get a new one. He's like, no, put the peel back on. And I'm like, honey, I can't put the peel back on. But
why didn't you put the peel back on?
I ended up putting the fucking peel back on.
You did, yes.
Yeah. So, and by the way, already I feel like I was being like way more patient than my parents would have been. My parents would have been like, enough.
Yeah.
Like, not indulging the emotion of it. But I was really doing what I thought I should do, which is like, I'm so like listening to him, offering a solution. The only thing that would satisfy him is putting the peel back on. And so he's like looking in the trash, pointing, and thankfully the trash had just been taken out, so there wasn't much in the trash, pointing to the bits of peel, like, put them back on, and I kept trying to explain, honey, we can't put them back on. Like, I can't, go back. I can't rewind time. And then finally, I just was like, let's try it, and took out the bits of peel and stuck them to the apple. I mean, it looked like the most Frankenstein ridiculous thing. It's like an electrocuted apple. Like the peel was sticking out in all directions, thinking he's going to realize this is not working. But he was calming down, and then he wanted to peel this ridiculous looking apple. So together we pretended to peel it, and then he was fine. And it was such a wake-up call to me that he's not looking at the world through my adult eyes. To him, putting the peel on in this ridiculous way and then going through the motions of peeling it is fine.
Yep.
When he says put the peel back on, he doesn't mean make it unpeeled, which is what I thought he was saying. So, yeah, it was really, it gave me a lot to think about, just like
very cute.
The Boy Scouts in nature.
I remember once me and the wife were going to make love, and I ripped my clothes off and I dove into bed, and she goes, I didn't like that. She says, what happened to like fooling around and slowly taking our clothes off? And I put my clothes back on and I got into bed, and we did it slow and methodical. And it's the same story, isn't it?
It's really, I'm surprised that I'm going to say this about a Greg Fitzsimmons sex story, but that's very sweet.
And well, I did it because she was crying so hard I couldn't even hear her.
Shaking, yeah.
Shaking. All right, my high.
My high.
Is basically this week. We finally got summer here in LA. We've had, well, at least in Venice Beach, you've probably had summer for a month or two, but it's never
eternal
really
summer in the valley.
It never really cracked 70, so it was beautiful, but it wasn't beach weather. And for the last week, it's been beach weather, and I've gone to the beach almost every day. And I jump on the bike. It's less than 5 minutes. I lock up the bike. I walk down to the beach. The water is like 71 degrees. Good riding waves. And I just love being in Venice Beach because it's like the most unique beach in the world. It's like all kinds of people, black, white, Latino, Asian, European, tourists. There's homeless people. There was this homeless guy walking around the other day, and he was walking in circles, gesturing and talking to himself, and nobody even noticed. There was not like, if that had happened at any other beach, police would have been called, people would have moved. This was just part of the terrain. In the same way that, like, you know, a Mexican guy wearing jeans comes out of the water holding his kid and then just sits and lays out in the sun. Just the only topless women. It's Topless Tuesday in Venice Beach.
Wow.
Every Tuesday, women lay out topless.
You
That's
must love
fun.
that.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. Around 11 o'clock, we get there. And like, you know, a guy, we went to the beach for like 6 hours yesterday, and there was two guys sitting next to us, older black guys. And, you know, you never know what kind of music you're going to get, depending on who's sitting next. Fucking beautiful old R&B, all like Stax Records kind of artists, like Sam and Dave and Otis Redding and the Staple Singers. And it was just really groovy music. And it's been great. So,
do you worry about people getting too close to each other?
It's not like that. People don't get that close.
So my understanding is when we were all afraid of COVID potentially being on packages and or groceries or whatever, like leave it out in the sun and that'll disinfect it. I don't know about the effect of sunlight on droplets or aerosols or whatever. I feel like it's just people just don't know. It's just too soon. So that being said, I do think outside is like the only safe way right now.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can say across the board sunlight kills it, so therefore there's not any danger outside.
But I think breeze takes care of it. You're fine. You're fine at the beach. Safer. Yeah.
Do you do any masking?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Like if I walk around the neighborhood, I walk the dogs a lot. I always wear a mask.
Well, good.
Yeah. What's your
low?
What's your low?
My low is a weird low. So I bought this book, and I'm going to hold it up. And I also I posted about it on the Childish account. It's called, I don't know if you can see it. It's called Siblings Without Rivalry: How to Help Your Children Live Together So You Can Live Too. And it's by Adele Faber and Elaine Maslish. And they are the authors of this book that is very well known and very well regarded, called How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. And my therapist actually recommended this book because I said to her, I'm really having a problem with, you know, Elliot and Owen, with Elliot making Owen cry. And, you know, is there a book you can recommend? She recommended this one. And it sat there for a long time, and I just could not, I'm just having trouble making myself read lately. I have all these books stacking up, and all I can do is like read my phone. So finally I started reading it, and I was like, God damn, this is so boring. And then suddenly it totally grabbed my interest. It was no longer boring. And I was bawling.
Aww.
Like this cathartic, like deep from my soul cry. I didn't know I needed to cry that much, and I was surprised by it. Like my eyelids were swollen this morning. And what really got to me was there are these thought experiments in here, and it starts, imagine that your spouse puts an arm around you and says, honey, I love you so much and you're so wonderful that I've decided to have another wife just like you. And then they go through all these different scenarios and you're supposed to write down how you would feel. And I'm trying to find the specific one that just like, okay. The new wife is maturing rapidly. Every day she seems smarter and more competent. One afternoon, as you're struggling to figure out the directions on the new computer your husband bought you, she bursts into the room and says, "Ooh, can I use it? I know how." When you tell her she can't use it, she runs crying to your husband. Moments later, she returns with him. Her face is tear-stained and he has his arm around her. He says to you, "What would be the harm in letting her have a turn? Why can't you share?" I mean, just like example after example after example. And I don't know. I think for me, it must have brought up stuff that I felt when my parents brought my sister home from the hospital.
Yeah.
Because I know that at times was hard for me. But it made me like want to just go hug Elliot, because I felt so bad for all of my like admonishing him for not being patient enough with Owen and for taking toys away from Owen. And I don't know. I recommend the book, but just be ready to bawl your eyes out.
No, but Alison, you're a great mom, and those are normal things that a mother has to do with the second child. I think you put a lot of guilt on yourself about, and I remember you talking about this before Owen was born. You were afraid that that Daniel was gonna feel displaced, and I think it's just so normal. It's like, you know. I wish I never had any guilt. Like, you know, I wish I could just understand that, you know, life is hard, and that's part of what gives a kid character, you know?
Yeah.
And having a sibling is the greatest thing a kid can have. I mean, look, if you're an only child or you're having an only child, that's fantastic. But a second kid can really like round out a kid's development growing up.
It does teach all sorts of lessons in how to relate to other people, how to socialize, how to have boundaries. I mean, what this book really recommends is no matter what, validate what the kids are feeling. Like, you know, we have this instinct to be like, don't be like that. That's silly. You know, just share, just stop it. And don't, you know, say like, you know, you're really upset with your brother, or like you wish he would blah, blah, blah. Validate, and then but let them feel whatever they want, but don't let them act however they want. So like, you are not allowed to hit him. Tell him with your words how you feel. And a lot of redirection towards like, use your words, or like, could you draw me a picture to show how you feel? Or like, could you show how you feel with this doll or whatever? And something that my parents never let my sister and me argue. Anytime we would raise our voices, just like normal bickering, they'd be like, "Girls." And I think it just caused them stress, but I do think that hobbled us in a way. Yeah. Because when we grew up, it was like, we have a lot of yelling at each other to get out of our system. Yeah. And it also, I think, was like upsetting when we would have disagreements. We never really learned to fight well.
Yeah, and that probably led to you and your relationships not being able to like handle there being
strife. Or conflict. Right. Yes. Yeah. That's been a thing I've had to learn. Yeah.
Milo, I threw up in my mouth while I was sleeping a couple nights ago.
Oh, no.
And it's unfortunately not uncommon. Anytime I eat like red sauce, like chili, spaghetti sauce, or say I have like chocolate for dessert, then about an hour or so after I go to sleep, I will wake up having thrown up. And then instinctively, my lips close and I catch it, and then it goes down my esophagus. It goes down my windpipe.
You choke on it.
Yes, it's what do you call that? That's how people die.
GERD. Asphyxiating on your own vomit.
Yeah, that's how Jimi Hendrix died, and you know, and I didn't die from it.
Thank God.
But it took me, and every time it happens, I have to go in the bathroom, and it's like a half an hour of going. To get the acid out of my windpipe, and you just cough, and it's so painful. It sucks. But I don't get it on the pillow. I always catch you with my lips.
So I think that's just acid reflux, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And I think, like, how long had it been in between when you had the the offending tomato-based item and when you went to sleep?
A few hours. I mean, we usually
Really?
eat around 7, and we
Okay.
go to bed around 11, midnight. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
that's gross.
right.
I'm sorry.
It was terrible. Thank you.
Yuck.
Needed to get that out.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. Voicemail or email?
Voicemail first, always, Allison.
Let's do a voicemail. Elliot has started doing robot voice. And it's like, I am a robot. And then I don't know if everyone else is going to think this is cute. I'm realizing this is a story that a parent tells that other people don't think is so cute. But anyway, he farted and he's like, I am a robot who toots. I thought
That's good.
I was proud.
That's good.
All right. Let's do a voicemail.
You rang.
Hey, Alison and Greg. This is Simon calling to say thank you to Greg for reminding Alison that all a dad wants for Father's Day from his wife is a blowjob. While I was listening to the podcast and Alison was asking Greg, and Greg was waiting for all the story about the nail brush, all I could think was Greg had better tell Alison what all guys want. And then when he did, not only did I laugh out loud, but I clapped as well. So well done, Greg, and good luck, Alison, on Sunday. Bye.
That's amazing because, first of all, when I hear the British accent, it throws me. I don't think I think of British people as being so kind of uptight and like oppressing their or suppressing their sexuality,
Or repressing.
repressing that, like a blowjob for the British. Like, does she keep her pinky up in the air while she's doing it?
Right.
How often does it even happen? Is it never like he's talking about it? This is a big step for a British guy.
Yeah.
He didn't say whether he got it though, did he?
I get the sense he did. He sounded relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I, by the way, gave that advice to our friends we went to the beach with yesterday. His birthday's coming up, and I said, give him a blowjob. And we know them really well, but you never know how that's going to go over, talking that way in front of other people. And they laughed and kind of agreed to it. It's free during the pandemic. It's free.
You're like the Prometheus of blowjobs, like
Yes.
bringing the blowjobs to the people.
That's right.
Prometheus brought fire, right?
Brought fire. And because
right?
of that, well, Prometheus brought fire, and then every day he was strapped to the side of a cliff, and every day these seabirds would come and they would eat his liver. They'd tear it out of his stomach.
What are they going to tear of you? What of yours is going to be torn
My
away
balls. Every day, my balls get torn out,
Yeah.
which describes some people's marriages.
Okay, if you would like to leave us a voicemail, which, you would, call 805-317-4243. Again, that's 805-317-4243. Let's listen to another one.
Hi, Greg and Allison. My name is Zach. I am 21. I'm from Long Island, New York, and I'm a radiology student. I'm not technically your demographic, but I love the show. Keep on keeping on, and thanks for the podcast.
The reason he called in is because on our last show, the same one where we shirked our duty to give CPR advice, you said that you don't feel like you know a lot of Zachs these days. There's Zach Galifianakis, and that's the only one.
Zach Braff. Yeah, that was it. Those were the only two we could name.
I don't even think you named Zach Braff last time.
Well, I'm happy that we're getting the Zach demographic up on the podcast.
Yeah.
And Zach is a fun name. I really think it's a parent that sees a future for his child that's going to be fun. Maybe joining the circus or at least being an English major.
I had a friend who was a fellow English major named Zeke.
Yep.
No, this was the conversation we had last time. No, his name was Zeph.
Oh.
Zephyr.
Yeah.
There was Zeph, and then there was Eph, and he was Ephraim. And they were really good friends. And Zeph and Eph, that's fun.
Well, Zephyr is, I know a kid named Zephyr, and he is a surfer kid whose parents were surfers. And Zephyr is the name of the very first surf shop in Venice.
Oh.
And it's where the Dogtown boys, that whole Dogtown
Yes.
movement, they all
Yes.
came out of the Zephyr skate shop. So this kid was named after it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, Zacs, we have not heard from enough of you. We still feel that Zacs are underrepresented in our demo, so we need to hear from more of you. But to this Zac, the radiology student, thanks for calling in. All right, we have one more voicemail.
Hey, Greg and Alison. Love the podcast. Heard every episode. Haven't left a review yet. Not sure what I'm waiting for. Anyway, I wanted to comment on Greg's bidet situation. We also got a cold water bidet once toilet paper became as valuable as the Shroud of Turin during the coronavirus. But what we do is we have a cheap-ass body wash that we keep next to the toilet, and once we rinse, we'll take a drop of that, clean ourselves with it, rinse again, and then dry off with designated dark color washcloths. And, of course, wash your hands after. Anyway, hope this helps you lead a treadmark-free life and anyone else who is bidet curious. Thanks. Bye.
Is that face because of the dark colored washcloths? Because I also am having that reaction.
It's fucking disgusting. I mean, where do you put the washcloth in between? You just leave it clumped up next to the toilet?
In a brown box. Well, here's the thing. It raises the question, how clean are you getting from the bidet and your cheap body wash if you need a dark towel? You shouldn't be leaving anything on the towel.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. This bidet thing, I'm still not sold. I use it.
Really?
I mean, it feels good. It feels pretty good. But I'm going in to pat dry, and I'm using 3 times as much toilet paper, drying my ball sack and my taint strip and my ass cheeks. And what do you call the crack that goes behind your ass, up your spine? What do you call that little indentation?
Is there a special name for that?
There should be. I think somebody needs to email us with some suggestions on what that crack is called.
And don't call it a flavor saver, because that's not going to work. It's just gross.
So, I don't know about this. If you need a towel, I mean, it would save on the toilet paper, but I don't know. I mean,
Greg, you need to just get a towel in there instead of toilet paper. And hopefully a white towel would be fine. Hopefully you're not picking up a lot of anything.
I think you need to use a white towel. If you're going to commit, use a white towel so you at least know. Because it's almost like you need to know.
Just to use a less fecal-oriented example, I am oftentimes getting makeup on towels. And I know a lot of women who feel like you should just have black towels, because then when you wipe your face and you get mascara on the towel, then it doesn't ruin the towel. And I have for a long time been like, I should just get dark colored towels. However, after washing my face, when I then use a towel, if I get makeup on the towel, that allows me to know, okay, well, I didn't wash my face well enough.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what we're saying.
Or even there's just something about the human experience that we need to know. There's no reason for me to look in the toilet bowl after I poop, but I look. I want to know what I did. It's like walking down the street and you trip and you look back to see what you tripped on. I'm never going to walk that way again. I don't need to know what it was. I need to know I tripped. That's it.
There's
but I look back.
I always look at the toilet, and you don't look at the first one when you're using toilet paper. This is in a pre-bidet time. You don't look at the first one because you don't need to.
That's right.
But subsequent wipes, you need to know, are you done?
Right.
It's irresponsible not to look.
And sometimes you wipe and you keep checking and it gets worse. And you're like,
yes.
How is it getting worse?
Wait, was there something secret hiding somewhere?
Am I still shitting?
I think maybe, right. It's like, is there...
I love when we start talking about something like this, and I see you cutting yourself off and going like, "Is this the clip of the week that we're going to make a video out of?"
I just get so excited, too excited. Some would say, but just the right amount of excited. Other people would say. All right, let's do some emails.
You wrote.
Hi, Greg and Alison. sharing a resource for the attorney friend Greg mentioned who's dealing with substance abuse and depression. I work for my state's Lawyers Association program, specifically organized to support attorneys in wellness. The idea is real problems, real experts, real solutions, staffed by attorneys who have left practice and have obtained clinical licenses to treat those within our profession, often situated with difficult and unique circumstances. Confidential, cost-free. So this guy has invited me to have my friend reach out to him and help him into this program. I'm happy to say it was my low, I think, a week ago, that he was really hitting the skids, and I didn't feel like I was being as supportive as I could for him. Well, he texted me about a week ago that he went into detox.
Oh, good.
Which is a very painful, difficult thing that lasts, I think, anywhere from a couple days to 5 days, and then you go into rehab from there. And he had a rehab place lined up. He was supposed to go in a week earlier, but they required a COVID test, so he had to take the COVID test and wait. And he went in, and so when he gets out, I'll wait till he gets out, and I'm going to send him this information. So thank you very much, sir. His name, or no, woman, Shelley. I won't say her last name, but her email is no. I should say the name of the program, though. I guess is the Lawyers Assistance Program, the LAP. If you want to look into it, you can check it out.
Great. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking that if it weren't for this show, 01 might not be at DePaul. Would you say that's right? Because it was from a wonderful listener who is a professor there who
I absolutely
yeah
think that's true. She gave him a tour around, introduced him to the president of DePaul University, who sat us down in an office for a half an hour and shot the shit with us. And I think that, and the fact that I took him to the best blues club in Chicago and bought him a couple Guinnesses, but no, I think she was fundamental to him going there. Yeah,
love
and
it.
she's reached out like before the pandemic. If there's anything I can do, if you're worried about him, I'll check in. He can come to our house. You know, she's great. She's
That's
great.
so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote a book that she sent me that is now that I'm back to reading, got to dive into that one. All right, what else do we have?
This one comes from Jesse in Brooklyn. And question for Fitzdog. No offense to Alison.
Oh, none
Throughout
taken.
your marriage, how often were new things explored and tried out in the bedroom when it did plateau? Oh, we already kind of covered this today. Asked as a recently engaged gentleman. I would say, as I said, mix it up, try new things. At some point, I think I entertained the idea of bringing another woman into the bedroom. I was not met with a no.
Oh, right. You mentioned this.
However, the right person never appeared, and now at the age of 54, I don't believe anybody wants anybody in a bedroom except for you and your spouse.
You don't think there's someone dying to get with a couple 54-year-olds? Aaron's younger.
I don't think so.
Aaron's younger, though, right?
No, Erin's older. She's 4 months older than me. So I don't know. We're both in good shape, though. And she's still hot. She's got good rack.
Yeah,
I think
you're
maybe
like tiny Venice people.
Yeah, we might be able to score like a 39 to 42-year-old. Maybe a 45-year-old. Maybe a 45-year-old.
And this is because I listened to Loveline growing up, but it's like it just seems so potentially devastating to a relationship, A, and B, right now, I feel like right now is a bad time to bring someone into your bedroom, like physically.
What
just
do you mean
because of COVID.
physically? Yeah,
COVID. You just don't want another person in your business.
I thought you meant physically like the way I look.
Oh, no. I just mean like we're having patio furniture delivered later and I don't want them coming through the house, let alone in my vagina.
Although you never know what can happen on patio furniture,
That's true. You never know.
Wow.
I know, and
So
it is Sunbrella fabric, which like washes off really easily. So
now you told me you spent a lot of money on this furniture, more than you'd hoped to.
So when I say furniture, that suggests that it's plural. It's just a couch, an outdoor couch. Yeah, it was a little bit more expensive than I planned, but I think we'll really like it. And it actually went on. The price came down since I bought it, so I was able to get a price adjustment.
You are going to enjoy the shit out of that outdoor couch. I can't wait.
Every day I come outside and I imagine what it's going to be like when the couch is here.
Yep.
And today is that day.
Right. And you guys, your neighbors can't see in your yard, so you and Daniel could sit naked, and you could anything could happen out there.
Oh my God. Are we going to christen our couch? Is that going to be the way that we add something fun, new, and exciting into our relationship? Because Jesse,
well, you said you can get the stains right out.
That's my understanding of it. You know, Jesse, I know that you didn't want my opinion about this because you know that I'm frigid and a prude and withholding. But what's the question? Do things plateau? Do you add new things? I think about this often, because I remember reading this book and I can't remember what it was called, but it was by someone whose last name was Snarch. And it was about, and that's how I say it, Snarch. And it's about intimacy. And he said that the way that and keep increasing intimacy, you have to keep putting new things on the table. And when I read it, all I was thinking is he's talking about anal. Is he talking about anal? I feel like he's talking about anal because how many things are there to do, you know? You max out at a certain point.
Yeah, it does sort of feel like pulling the chute, doesn't it? You jump out of the plane, you're falling, your heart's racing, it's exciting. And then after a while, you kind of go all right, I get it. I need a new experience while I'm flying through the air. You pull the chute. In this case, the poop chute.
I'm just lazy. Yes, you could have sex in a number of places, in a number of positions, but I am so tired.
Yeah.
So
might wake you up.
You know what I think is actually a good idea for, you can't, when COVID is a distant memory, I think going to a sex shop can put a little spark back, can give you some new ideas.
Oh, sure.
Maybe a sex shop website or something.
Even if it's just some, lube that's heated, some of them make a heat, maybe a little tickler you can play with, anything little. Just makes you feel naughty. That's all.
Yeah. And it reminds you that sex is supposed to be playful.
Yes. Alison?
Have we done it again?
We did it again.
How do we do it every single time, Greg?
And the bets that go on that we're not going to be able to do it again. I'm 54. I'm not 65.
Right. Sometimes I get insulted when I look and I see in Vegas the odds on will they do it again?
Yeah, right.
But it just makes so I don't appreciate how many people think we can't do it again, but it makes me go, when we do it again, it's just going to be that much sweeter because they said we couldn't.
And the letters they send in to Podcast Weekly, it's amazing how many fans love the show. I think it's their fear that we're not going to be able to do it again. So they're projecting out of their own fear.
Right, because they're if I visualize them not doing it again, then when they don't do it again, it won't hurt as much. But here's the thing, you guys. We always do it again.
We always do it again. And we also do our own podcast again. Fitzdog Radio comes to you once a week on Tuesdays. Also, don't forget the Sunday Papers, my new podcast with Mike Gibbons, where we discuss the week's news. Don't miss the news you missed this week is our phrase.
Because it's so easy to say and catchy. Sorry, that came out bitchier than I meant it as a joke. It came out. It had a bitchy filter on that joke. I'm sorry.
Don't miss what you missed this week. That's fucking great.
That is good. That time it tripped off your tongue.
I might have said it wrong the first time. And then don't forget cameos. I'm doing the cameos for you people. If you want to send a message to a loved one or a curse to a hated one, send it in. Alison?
That's good. Have you sent a curse to a hated one?
No, but that would be funny if
It
somebody's out
would.
there. I have had people ask me to roast their friends, and they ask me.
Yeah.
Some people say go hard, and then they give me some details, and I go hard, but then I forget that anybody can go onto my Cameo account and watch the message that I sent to them. It's like
Right.
it's an open forum. It's not just the people that get it.
I'm also on Cameo, and I'm available for love or for hexes. Listen to Alison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. Comes out Mondays and Thursdays. And I'm also on Patreon, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. Thank you guys so much for interacting with us, for listening to us, for recommending us to your friends. And keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. Stay safe out there, people. Wear your mask. Stay apart. It'll last less long if you don't fuck around out there.
That's right. Oh, and watch our videos because
Oh, yeah.
it's fun to listen to us, but it's also fun to see us.
You should see the
YouTube-
face I'm making right now.
Yeah, and the one I'm making. YouTube.com/Alison Rosen is where you go for full videos of Childish.
All right,
right.
we'll see you next time, Allison.
Yes, we will.
I'm Greg Fitzsimmons,
I'm Alison Rosen.
and we are Childish.